Welcome back to the channel, and here I am once again back at the market, and really pleased to hear that they've been bought by Bonhams. So they're now part of the Bonhams auction group, which is absolutely fantastic. The fact that Bonhams were interested in buying the market is testament to how good the operation is here and the quality of the cars that are coming through. So what I thought I'd focus on this week is to look at cars that are in excellent condition. We've got some here that have either been very well restored or extremely well looked after by their previous owners. Let's take a look. So let's kick off with this Capri. Now, this is a Mark 1 Capri, a 3000E, so the executive level. So the story behind this one is that the original owner was a director of a Ford dealership, and he obviously had very good connections with the sales director of Ford UK, so he was able to put special orders in direct to the factory. So he specified a parchment interior. This is a pretty much standard 3000E, or it was until he got hold of it. So straight away he sent it to Webasto and had them fit this full-length folding sunroof. He then also wanted it to be a little bit more special, a little bit more exclusive, and he ended up speaking to a company called Broadspeed. Now, Broadspeed were race preparation engineers and were involved in tuning a lot of Capris and Escorts at the time. And what they did was they came out with a body kit and a modification, a set of modifications for the 3000 GTs particularly, although they also did a couple of 3000Es. So what they do with the engine is they'd give it high lift cams, they'd modify the heads and put a different inlet manifold on it to get more power. So it's a kind of a race tuned or race inspired tuning of the engine. But what the original owner didn't want was the body kit. He didn't want the front chin spoiler and the rear boot spoiler because he feared that he'd look like a boy racer. However, what he did do was he got the panel beater in his own workshop to flare out the wheel arches slightly in order to fit the mini lights. Just look at the quality of this paintwork. Just amazing the way that the white has been combined there with the black across the bonnet and around the windows. Extremely well done. And this was done over 10 years ago, maybe 10, 11 years ago. And the previous owner has looked after it so carefully that it still looks like it was only restored yesterday. The interior too, this is all retrimmed by Aldridge's, who often feature in Car SOS. Beautiful parchment colour interior. See there, motor litre steering wheel. So this 1971 Ford Capri 3000E Broadspeed modification is guided £40,000 to £50,000. It is fantastic, and actually one of the other things it comes with is a history file, and the history file there's a kind of document in there that charts the history of this car, the full story of the car from when it was first bought, that the owner before last must have spent months putting together, turning detective and tracking down all the previous owners. We even tracked down a small briefcase full of documentation, magazines and various articles, all sorts of things either related to Broadspeed or related to the Ford Capri. Just a fantastic car. So here's another car in amazing condition, a Jaguar XK120. This is a 1954 car. Now, this style of car was known as an open two-seater or Roadster, but again, immaculate condition and beautiful British racing green over tan interior, which just a cracking combination, that dark green and tan that's now coming back into favour. You can see this car has spats on the rear wheels. If it were a wire-wheeled car, so this one has the steel wheels as you see at the front. So some of these cars were fitted with wire wheels, and those that were had to have the spats removed because the spinners, the knockoff spinners on the end of the wire wheels, would foul the spats, or the spats would get in their way, so they basically did away with the spats for those cars. Let's take a look at how well it's trimmed inside. Beautiful trimming and attention to detail. Just the sort of stitching and the edging around the carpets, for example. It's beautiful. This one has a plaque on the dashboard, like all open two-seaters did have, or pretty much all of them, all the ones that came out after the the speed runs that they did in Belgium. It's a super looking car. Wonderfully restored, and estimate on this one is 76 to 95,000 pounds. So it's a lot of money, but these, if you think about these compared to E-types, just an altogether different car, but I mean similar kind of engine, but just almost the epitome of a British roadster. So another Jaguar now, this time an E-type, and this is the open E-type Roadster. It's a Series 3, so one of the later cars, and it has the 5.3 litre V12 engine. It's a 1973 model car. Great colour. It wasn't originally this colour, but I'm sure you'll agree. It's bright red, signal red is superb. And it sits on wire wheels, which, to be honest, is always good for a British roadster. Paint isn't perfect, but it is extremely, extremely good. Beautifully trimmed interior too. Now, one of the previous owners of this car apparently was a technical officer for the Jaguar Enthusiast Club, and he carried out a couple of additions or a couple of modifications to it just to make things a little bit more modern, a bit easier to use. So that included adding a 5-speed gearbox and fitting electronic ignition. Certainly would help with the fuel economy and being able to start it in the morning. And then also around each corner you've got adjustable suspension, just so you can alter the ride and handling of the car. Beautiful car, estimate 70 to 80,000 pounds. The Mercedes-Benz SL R129 series, always a popular car. We featured the one next to it last week, which is the Silver Arrows. But this particular one is in blue black, but it basically looks grey. It is really, really just dark grey. Haven't yet found much of a hint of blue. But this particular car is in absolutely pristine condition. It is amazing, and it's come from Japan. And obviously, as we know, the Japanese don't tend to salt their roads, so that really helps when you're looking underneath the car and you're looking at mechanicals and seeing what has corroded, what hasn't. But yeah, very original as well. It's just, I think, one of the last cars that would have come out before they changed the sort of lower half of the car to body colour. It's in very good condition. The other good thing about Japanese cars as well being their right-hand drive. So very, very popular idea around in this country to bring in a Japanese import. Now, the R129 generation of SL is a very accessible car, very affordable. This is probably towards the upper end of what you might want to pay for a relatively standard one. It is a 500, so it is the V8. But it's guided 12.5 to 15, which kind of puts it about average price for one of these kind of ones for the R107 series. But I think these cars are definitely on the up. There's certainly a renewed interest in this era of Mercedes-Benz SL. Looks like we're in Mercedes corner over here. Finally, I wanted to take a look at something that's a little bit different from the rest. Pre-war car, and there's been I suppose the interest in pre-war cars is sort of waning a little bit. There's obviously fewer people around who would remember them. So the prices of them are are actually very low if you think about what you're getting. This one here is an MGVA Tourer from 1937, and it's been immaculately restored, and a lot of money spent on this car to get it into the condition it's in now. But it's only guided £21,000 to £30,000, and so that's amazing value for this car. But it's a sort of, I mean, it is a Tourer, but it's a kind of sports Tourer. It's the kind of car you see in World War II films. So a Spitfire pilot might roar up outside the officer's mess in one of these things, and him and his mates would jump out and go into the bar. Now, the original colour for this was Avon green, which is apparently not a very exciting colour, but this French blue certainly makes it stand out. And the quality of it, the quality of that paintwork, it's just extraordinary. It was restored by David King, who's a well-known restorer of pre-war MGs, and that was done over a 4 to 5 year period. The interior too, superbly trimmed, but a high degree of originality. As much of the original equipment was kept as it possibly could. So for that kind of money, for between £20,000 and £30,000, and you know, if you want to look like a Spitfire pilot, or it's probably as close as you get to flying a Spitfire will be to drive the car that the pilots would have driven. Absolutely beautiful. So it's been great being back at the market. I hope you like the videos that I'm doing here. If you do, please like, please subscribe, and there'll be more coming along very soon like this. So currently a lot of my videos are here from the market. If you'd like to see me do something else, please write it in the comments, and I will reply to them all and have a look at what you've said. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.